Hey guys, what's going on? It's Colin here again, back with another fan video for you. Today we're taking a look at what is the oldest fan in my collection currently. This is a 1908 Westinghouse tank motor fan, as they're known. They get that name because look at the size of the motor compared to the rest of the fan. It's absolutely massive and it's hilarious and I love it. It's also built like a tank and it weighs about as much as a tank too. For those of you curious, here's the tag on it. If the camera wants to focus. But yeah, I picked this thing up actually online around last Thanksgiving, which is quite rare for me. Usually I don't buy fans online, but I saw it come up and it was a good price and my buddy Alex Rushing talked me into getting it, so I ended up with it. I didn't pay too much for it, but it's definitely a lot more than I usually pay for fans. But once again, it's a pretty early fan and I kind of needed it. I was at the point where I was starting to want to get into some early iron stuff. I didn't have any, so this is a good fan to start with. I've since collected a fair few more, but those are going to be topics for different videos. It's actually in okay shape, as you can see. There's quite a bit of paint loss around the base, and the motor struts and whatnot, and the brass is definitely tarnished quite a bit. But it does run, or somewhat run at least. And my plans for this thing are, in this video, I'm just going to do the electrical and mechanical servicing of this. And then what I plan to do later, hopefully later this year, or if not later down the line at some point, is I want to do a full cosmetic restoration on this thing. I'm going to strip all the paint off of it, paint it up, and polish the brass and make it really nice and shiny. Because I think it would be really cool. And there aren't too many people that dare try and restore these things, so I'm going to try and be one of the crazy people that does. It's had a lamp cord put on it at some point. The head wire is actually still original, which is kind of scary. But like I said, it sort of runs. It runs good on high, and then low speed it just kind of slows down and down and down and down and down, and it gets to the point where it starts running on only the start windings, which will burn it up. Oh, I forgot to mention, these are centrifugal start motors, which is pretty cool. What I'm hoping is the case is that it's just really gummed up and this motor just doesn't quite have the power to, you know, spin the blade up at speed and resist all the crap that's probably in the bearings from the last 100+ years of service. What it could also be is the speed coil in the base could be going, but we're going to hope it's not that. But for now, I'll just fire it up on high, show you guys that it does in fact run. So here we go. There you could hear the centrifugal switch disengage there. It does take its time getting up to speed. That's what makes me think it's probably pretty gummed up. I'll do a spin down, which actually isn't too terrible, but keep in mind this blade weighs a ton. But yeah, what I actually have, yep, I brought it down. I've got some actually original, not to this fan, but it's original 110-ish year old Christmas cloth covered wire that Alex prepared for me. He's got a line cord and a head wire for this fan, which is super nice of him. And then up in a bag over there, sorry about the noise upstairs, the dogs are running around, I have an original Benjamin style plug that I'm going to throw on this thing, for which, if you guys don't know, that's a light socket screw type plug. Which was gifted to me by a very nice man at the Cool Spring Engine Show. So, very excited to try and get this thing back up and running so I can at least use it, and then hopefully later this year we can get to restoring it. But anyways, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and throw you guys up on the tripod, throw the camera in time-lapse mode, and let's get to starting to tear this thing apart and see how it works.
Beyond the storm, dreaming of a better day beyond the rain. Oh, but I can't seem to find a place that I can hide from the falling water washing over me. The rain came down, yeah, the rain came down. The lonesome wind it howled and the rain came down. So many nights and wasted days, drifting aimless upon the waves, waiting for a mountain to break above the waterline. Past gone, path unknown, the silver lining shines like gold on the other side of the storms that cloud the way. Oh, but I can't seem to find a place that I can hide from the falling water washing over me. The rain came down, yeah, the rain came down, and the rivers turned to oceans. The lonesome wind it howled, and the rain came down. The rain came down, yeah, the rain came down, and the rivers turned to ocean.
Hey guys, so as you guys saw, I got this whole thing blown apart and started cleaning some stuff up. Went ahead, took the entire thing apart. I went ahead and cleaned up all the oil passages in there. They were completely plugged up with grease and crap, and they were pretty nasty. Now you can see it's pretty clean. Cleaned up the rotor here, and this is a hefty rotor, let me tell you what. It's pretty crazy. Lubricated all the centrifugal start tabs just because. I actually didn't think they were that stiff, and then I lubricated them and they freed up a lot, so I guess they kind of were. Took the whole switch assembly apart, polished these parts up a bit. Went ahead, got some new hardware for some of that because these are kind of shot, as much as I hate to say it. I also took the oil wicks apart, and they were absolutely filthy and horrendous too. So I cleaned these all out in the ultrasonic cleaner. Sorry about the noise upstairs. The original springs. I've got some new oil wick, which we're going to put in there, and we're going to fill those with fresh oil. And then I also went ahead and I revarnished the choke coil, which, interesting note about these, the laminations are separated, and they're held together by the screws that go through them, which is pretty crazy. And I also went ahead and revarnished the crap out of this stator, which again, hell of a stator. It's interesting how loosely packed some of these windings are on this stator. They look more like cotton twine than windings. It's crazy. But this is currently drying because I put like half the can of varnish in this. Because they're so far, they're not tightly wound, because they're so spaced out, it took a lot more varnish than I'm used to. So I'm letting that dry in the meantime. That's part of the centrifugal start switch down there. So that's drying over here because I got the heater out, drying some paint on some parts for what might be a future project. I'm not sure what's going to come first, but I'm not going to spoil it just in case. But yeah, I think at this point I'm going to go ahead and start reassembling the switch, and then hopefully by then that motor will be pretty dry and I can do, well, I'll do the oil wicks, and then we'll go ahead and put this head wire on and stuff it back in the case, and hopefully we'll have this thing all back together and running tonight, which would be pretty cool. But anyways, just figured I'd jump in, do a little update since it's been a long time lapse, but let's get back into it.
Lonesome wind it howled and the rain
Hey guys, so we got the 1908 Westinghouse tank all back together here, and I am just beyond happy with how this thing came out. Actually making me even more excited to do the cosmetic restoration on it at some point soon. But either way, it cleaned up really nice. Once again, nothing cosmetic that you can see, but mechanically it is just like 100 million times better. I got the nice new head wire on there, or new head wire. This wire, I can't remember if I mentioned it or not, but this wire is about 110 years old. And it's just flexible as ever. It's like it's brand new. Gonna go ahead and trim the last little bit of heat shrink that's sticking out there off when I do the cosmetic restoration. Now I know about where it's at. Freed up really nice. It runs so nice now. It just purrs along on low and just, you know, runs as it should on high. Switch cleaned up really nice. That's got a nice snap to it. Actually might be a touch tight now. I may have tightened that bolt just a tiny bit too much, but that's alright. And we went ahead and threw the, I think it's a touch newer because this actually spins separately, but it's a Benjamin plug, probably from the teens. Went ahead and threw that on there, and I think that just really completes the look on this thing. And the green cord actually looks really, really good with this fan. There's just something about it. It screams early 1900s, which I really like. So, yeah, I'm super happy with how that came out. And like I said, it runs amazing. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here is grab my little light socket to plug adapter thing. And let's go ahead and show you guys how this thing runs now. For giggles, I tied the cord up, or the light socket thing up here for a slightly more realistic experience here. But there you go. That's how that thing looks. And it just runs amazing. So actually, let's go ahead and fire this thing up on low. Start switch disengaged. I'd say that's a fair bit better than when we first got it. If you remember, when I first got it, it would just run on the start windings on low. It wouldn't even pick up any speed. So now we got a really nice low speed. It's actually pretty tame, especially considering we're running about 120 volts. And this thing's designed to run on 100 to 110. So we're running anywhere from 10 to 20 volts over what it's rated for. And it's still got a really nice tame low speed. Go ahead and grab the paper towel meter here. It was a good breeze. You know, I think these early fans get a really bad rep. A lot of people seem to think that they're all really noisy and there's no difference between the speeds or anything. And I think most people have only seen like a 16-inch GE AOU where that is the case. You know. Also, I don't think people realize that some of these older fans really do have nice low speeds, and there's a good difference between the speeds. And also, I don't think people realize how much of a difference that running them 10 to 20 volts over their rated voltage really makes. Unfortunately, I don't have my speed controller here, but I have a feeling that if I put this thing at 100 to 110 volts, it would run even calmer and quieter. But, I mean, I would sleep with this running like this. It's really not that loud. It moves a good breeze, too. It just runs nice and smooth too. I did a little bit of balancing. The thing barely vibrates now. Blades are all pretty well in plane. And we can go up to high here. There's a noticeable difference there. And it gets right up to speed too. Now it's really throwing out a good breeze. As you can see. I had this thing running for several hours yesterday, and it draws basically no current and it barely gets warm, so it's definitely a pretty happy motor. Heck, that 12-inch Sears 3-speed, you know, Lasco Galaxy table fan I just redid recently draws more current than this, and it moves less air, and this thing lasted way longer than that thing did before it needed service. But anyways, we'll go for a spin down here. It's a heck of a lot better than it was, I can say that much. There goes the start switch, which adds even more drag, and it just keeps spinning. And just for the heck of it, let's do a start up straight to high. And gets right up to speed. But there you go. The 1908, or maybe it's a 1909, I can't remember. I'm going to say it's an 08 for now. Somebody can correct me down below. But either way, there you go. It's all done, electrically, mechanically sound now, and it's actually usable. So, like I said, at some point, hopefully this summer, maybe if not, maybe next year, I'll get around to actually doing a full cosmetic restoration on this thing. Go ahead and strip all this original paint or Japan or whatever it is off, repaint the whole thing, shine up all the brass and everything, and do the little details like the heat shrink and stuff there. And I think this thing's going to be absolutely gorgeous. So I'm very excited for that, but I'm even more excited now that I can actually run this thing and it's usable, and I know that it's all, you know, sound and good. But anyways, guys, with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I think we're going to end it here. So thank you so much for watching. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed. If you like what you see, you can hit the little like and subscribe buttons. I'd appreciate that. By all means, leave a comment if you have one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.